probably be another GP that's kind of boring. But Monaco is definitely without a doubt boring. Monaco is boring. Monaco is outdated. Monaco is old. Monaco probably shouldn't be on the schedule anymore. Monaco is getting outgrown by the current era of Formula One cars unless they do something to reduce the size of these cars. Monaco is just nostalgia, a vacation spot. It's famous people that are used to pulling up yachts, and it has its memories that are still living on today. But as far as racing value, as far as us watching a Monaco race and feeling as if this race is giving us completely what we need, I don't think any of us feel that way. I just don't. I don't think any of us feel that Monaco is a track that just delivers the excitement and the competitiveness in today's era of a Formula One sports car. I just don't. And I don't know if it ever is. What's going on? Mary Beanie, I agree with you. Monaco needs to go. I said Monaco needs to go. But it's just not a good place for me. What's up, Racer X210 popping on in? What's going on, bro? How you doing? Yeah, it's just not to me, it's not the best place. I think there are so many other tracks that have now been updated. There are other tracks that are getting up to what I would call code. That's not officially the word that they use, but there are other tracks that are definitely fitting today's racing era and the value. But more than anything, we're going to talk about who is the next team to rival Red Bull right now. We're going to talk about Mercedes. We're going to talk about Ferrari. We're going to talk about McLaren. We're going to talk about these teams and how I feel about them. And honestly, I'm a bit surprised that I'm not going to lie. It's like I am, but I'm not. I'm a bit surprised about how far off Mercedes is from being able to do anything that some people may have felt they should have been able to do. I am. I'm also surprised at the development progress of McLaren. I mean, McLaren right now is really popping in to be a team that, if we're going to see anybody really rivaling Red Bull, let's just be real. If it had been for another additional DRS and detection zone in this past weekend's GP, I think Lando was winning back-to-back GPs. I think that maybe if some people felt that if Lando had the car, he still may have not been able to do it. I think at this point in time, you probably should be a little concerned if you might eat those words. I think if you said that Lando will no way, no how, not in any shape, form in the future be a Formula One champion, I think that you may want to kind of taper what you're saying there, because at this point, we're only 7 rounds in, I believe, and McLaren's there. McLaren is right there. They're closer than Ferrari's there, and I think a lot of us probably assumed that Ferrari would be that team that was actually going to rival Red Bull going into this season. And it's partly true and kind of, it's kind of up in the air, right? It's kind of up in the air right now. I don't think we haven't seen a Ferrari push Red Bull and Max Verstappen behind the RB20 like we just saw Lando pushing Max in Imola. We have not seen that, not in race format. Now, yeah, it's true. Max's gap has definitely closed down quite a bit, right? Max's gap, as far as the rest of the grid, has closed down. We're talking about 0.7, 7 tenths on Max Verstappen's ass going through Imola is where Lando is. Pia is in fourth. And right now, I'm going to tell you that they have a good chance at rivaling Red Bull, or at least rivaling Ferrari, for that second position. Right now, between Ferrari and Red Bull, you got about 50-something points difference in Constructor Championship points. Between Ferrari and McLaren, you got about 50-something points difference between them in World Championship points, Constructor Championship points. We're only in 7. We got 24 races. 24 races total this season. It's not over by a long shot. I don't know if 17 more races are going to allow McLaren and Ferrari well, we can't even say 17. Let's say 12. Let's say 12 more races, right? 12 more races. At this point in time, I'll put us at about 19, which means 5 more races to the end of the season. What does it look like then? What does it look like? And you also have to say to yourself, McLaren hit the stride late last season. They hit it like just past the halfway mark. They're ahead of that this season. This is not round 12. This is 7. And they've already won round 6 and second for 7. I don't know where it's going to go. I'm not sure if they're going to continue to develop, or are we going to have a situation like we had with Aston Martin, where Aston Martin was so strong at the front part of the season, and then they were very stagnant on the second part of the season, where other teams just developed and then outdeveloped them. But I do know this. If we're going to see a Constructor Championship battle between McLaren and Ferrari, P is going to have to be more consistent. McLaren's going to have to be sure that the car is right and it is durable, it is reliable, and P is going to need to do what he needs to do and not make mistakes. P making an error where I do still believe they over penalized him for it, but the truth is he made a mistake. He got charged for it. So there's not a lot of debate for that. There's just a personal feeling that I think maybe it was a little bit harsh. But Pia needs to alleviate himself from those mistakes and needs to capitalize on a lot more moments, use this car that McLaren right now is doing so wonderfully at updating, and those updates turn into upgrade, and help the team fight up the Constructor Championship charts. I'm not even willing to say at this point in time, what's up, Galactus? What's up, Matthew? What's up, Reezy, Mary, Racer X210? I'm not willing to say right now that what we're going to have is a driver championship battle, because that to me is not close. You know, that to me with Max Verstappen and McLaren and even Ferrari is not that close to me. You have Charles probably behind by 40-something points. And he would need 2 race wins and Max not to finish a race to close that up in probably a few races. Lando is probably 50-something points behind. He's just as many points behind as they are a difference between Ferrari and a Constructing Championship. So now, is it impossible? No, because this is still early in the season. Lando's got a race win. I'm not sure that Lando's done with race wins. I still believe that there may be some circuits out there where Red Bull will struggle, because we've seen that every season. Singapore is one of them. Seen them struggle there. Okay, we just saw them struggle at this track till they got the updates and kind of managed everything to get everything in place. And even then, Lando was on Max's ass. We saw last race, Miami, Lando and them cleaned up. So I'm pretty sure there are going to be some more circuits where McLaren's going to be strong, and it might kind of line up with circuits where Red Bull won't be as strong, and that's going to leave the door open. Now it just comes, can Lando put clean laps together? Can Lando and Pia not make a lot of mistakes? Can Ferrari put clean laps together? Can Ferrari get a hold of what they're going? We had so much hype going into this weekend about Ferrari and this update package. It was ridiculous. 2.0 talk. We talking about 2.0 talk like Ferrari was coming with Knight Rider 2023 or some shit. Yo, you got to taper. Sheriffson says Merc giving off Patriot vibe. Dynasty is over. Bro, I'm not going to hold you on that. That's very true. And they both got silver in their schemes. The dynasty is over, and the Patriots dynasty has been over since Tom Brady has left. Even a little bit before then, it's set in. And I think this is true. I think right now what we're seeing is Mercedes is struggling to develop a car and then struggling to finally get it in a good window. They still have a car that is largely intolerable, that the drivers do not care for. And think about this. We get this all the time, right? They say, oh, it's the best it's ever felt. Well, that's a perspective. The best it's ever felt can still be crap. If it's less crap than the last one and then any other version, then yeah, it's the best it's ever felt. But still, it could still be crap. It could be just better crap than last week's crap or last season's crap. That doesn't mean anything to me. And I get tired of people talking about, oh, Lewis is dancing and I heard he's smiling. I heard he feels good. I don't care about that anymore. All I care about is when Lewis gets on track, when George Russell gets on track, do they actually show some type of pace that is going to be equivalent to their competitors that are now at the top of the grid fighting and trying to claw at Red Bull's rear wing? That's what matters. Right now, they are sitting comfortably at 6 and 7. That is where they're sitting. And if you really think about it, how much of that is any different from when they first came out in 2022, when everybody was flabbergasted about seeing Mercedes comfortably sitting at 6 and 7, sometimes lower. This is where they are. So to me, technically, Mercedes has not made much change. And we can even look at this. We can look at this because I'm telling you. Here it is, round 1 through round 7. Red Bull, boom, doing their thing except for Australia. All right, they had their blip there. Then you got Ferrari, been in the mix. The most improved team over these last 7 rounds is McLaren by a long shot. By a long shot. They right now are going tick for tack with Red Bull in the last GPs. The last 3 GPs. Okay, this is a chart. I'm just saying this is the best position by either or driver. Whichever driver finished in the highest position is what's thrown in here. McLaren, if this continues, you're looking at your rival opponent for Red Bull. You're looking at Red Bull's nemesis at this point in time. Mercedes is out of the picture. Mercedes is up and out of the picture pretty much. They have their worst in Australia. The worst in Australia. So here it is right here. Can Ferrari dip down and make it a 3-team battle as far as constructor championships? That is what we'll see. 2 differences between the team, 100 points accumulative, 50-something from McLaren to Ferrari, 50-something from Ferrari to Red Bull. Roughly about 60-something. You got 58, 51. So you're talking about roughly 100 and something odd points between all 3 teams where there's a difference. I'm not confident to say that at this point in time, Ferrari is going to be able to even hold off McLaren. I'm not even concerned about Mercedes if I'm out there. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. And I want to wonder, I do wonder, I would hope that they don't. I hate to see anybody as great as Mercedes has been just go out like this. Usually it sucks that it came, the new era regulation of cars didn't help. It was like a plateau and then it just dropped off. I think if the regulations don't change, I mean, we're probably looking at a different scenario, definitely, but they did. And they had to get prepared for it, and they weren't prepared well for it. Nobody really was except for Red Bull. But that reason is old, faded, it needs to be put to rest. Teams have had season after season to find a way to manage to do updates, to manage to understand their platforms, to manage to get out here and adjust accordingly. And the teams that have done that best right now, other than Red Bull, is Ferrari and McLaren. McLaren at this point in time, throughout the last 3 GPs, has done the best. Ferrari was that team that seemed like they were, but since then, Ferrari has they haven't really been performing as well. I understand Charles has got that 1-lap pace for that quality, but we got to bring this in a race. Jefferson says, give current trajectories, Williams may surpass Mercedes. That'd be crazy, bro. That would be crazy if Williams surpasses Mercedes. I love it. I don't want to say I love it. I don't like to say I love anything, can't love me back. I'd be ecstatic about it. I've told you all that several times throughout the last few seasons. I would be ecstatic to see Williams, a team who is an angel who once fell from heaven, return back and be bestowed up into the good God racing graces. That would be a phenomenal story. I think that's far off. You got Logan Sargent running amok over there, doing the worst job he can do, but doing the best that he's able to do, and it's not enough for the team to do anything. They got to get Logan Sargent out of there. Albon, a season, one to be applauded. I want to say phenomenal because it's not phenomenal given if you can't crack into the top 5 and get there. It's not all him. The team needs to come along. Car development needs to come along. But definitely a season to be applauded. But Albon at this point in time is not the Albon, not looking like the Albon I thought he should be coming into the season. I thought Albon would be a lot stronger, and right now, not so much. I need him to not make these mistakes. Now, of course, the team made a mistake by putting the wheel on wrong. I'm not mad at Albon for calling it out, but Albon's going to need to get out here on track and make some things happen. OG Zilla, regulations changes combined with cost cap change didn't do any favors to the team that did get the right things first. That is a fact, OG Zilla. That is a fact. Now, it is not going to be ignored, especially by me, that Red Bull indeed are where they are because they cheated. Can we just be honest about that? They cheated, okay? They got Adrian Newey. I'm not sure if I really considered the fact that, we're about to implement a new era regs that really is going to lend strongly, and we notice, to one team. There's one engineer, there's one person on the grid that is actively employed by a team that has the upper hand on everybody when it comes to ground era effects. And that's Adrian Newey. Is this really fair in all of competition, us knowing this and still carrying out and dropping new regulations where we can pretty much project what may happen with somebody who has a fond amount of experience developing ground effects in Formula One? I don't really think that was appropriate. I think if you know and you don't know, then you don't know, but you know. So do I think there should have been something there in the better spirits of equal competition, equal and fair playing ground to develop and compete with each other? Yes, they knew this. So that's something that definitely needs to be said. But it doesn't go dismiss. Red Bull cheated to get where they are. They overspent 1.8 something million. That's not small change when it comes to development dollars. When you break the cost cap, that is a rippling effect that continues on forward. The penalty was not enough, given where they already were as far as development and how far they gapped the rest of the field. So that doesn't go ignored. But I have to say this. We are where we are. We're here. These are things that we've already known. Now, how are we going to respond to them? How are we going to get over this hurdle and this challenge? Was it fair? No. Is it fair? No. But we still have to move forward. So either we're quitting Formula One or we're going to figure out how to get where they are. They still have a car, still got money, still have limitations as far as mechanics and physics are concerned. How do we utilize all of those components and put us in a position of equal machinery to give our drivers the opportunity to battle Red Bull? That's what you got to be concerned about right now. Everything else is just water under the bridge. Nobody's changing it. Formula One had an FOM and Liberty Media and the FIA still have yet to go back and change 2021 when they know they were dead ass wrong. They're not going back and trying to make sure that Red Bull is going to get a penalty. They may put them behind a bit more within respect to the rest of the competition. They're not doing it. They're not about holding integrity and character within the decisions they make and the screw-ups that they have done. They're not about that. So that's not happening. Okay. Another thing about that is I think that the FIA needs to come down and split up Red Bull and Visa Cash, Red Bull Visa Cash App, RVAP. I keep forgetting all this damn acronym we got for Red Bull is damn ridiculous, this long ass name. Okay. It gets on my damn names to even try to think about it. Red Bull Visa Cash App. I mean, what the hell? It's long as shit. Okay. They got to break up this team. They do. I've said this plenty of times. It's not fair that Red Bull have a team where they can bring in like a farm team for baseball and see what kind of drivers they have without impacting their main team. No other team has that ability. No other team has the ability to funnel somebody up through the internals like that and give them an opportunity to be in a Formula One car and Formula One races and Formula One sprints and Formula One practice and Formula One qualifying and say, hey, you know what? We like him. Move him up right now. He's already in the Red Bull system. That's got to stop. That's got to be something that they stop. That's got to be something that they can't keep allowing to go on. And I do have to say this. It is highly questionable for an organization to allow a team to do something like that and not implement themselves to just disband it. It's questionable to me. I don't even know what the big deal is about doing something about it. It doesn't seem hard. It should have never been allowed. And it definitely needs to be stopped. So that's another thing, Red Bull. So we're talking about 2021, talking about the cost cap, talking about you got 2 teams, 4 cars, 4 drivers on the grid. None of that is okay. And I still don't think any of that will be forgotten in history when it's time to talk about Red Bull and their dominance. These are things that are always going to come up. There are blemishes on a silk white robe, and you had red wine. That shit doesn't come out. It's not coming out at all. So my main thing right now is, can McLaren keep this up? Can McLaren keep this pace up? Can they keep the development up? Can they keep understanding their platform and get the most out of it? Can the drivers understand the platform, get adapted to the changes, and take this car up the grid? Can we or will we see a race where Lando Norris gets by Max Verstappen and gaps him? Is this something that we're going to see? I saw it, a glimpse of it, a small microcosmic of it when the safety car was off. Max Verstappen could not run Lando down. That McLaren was out. It was stretching Max out. Is this something, and let's just be real, 0.7 seconds on a circuit that's hard to pass as it is, closing that gap, 1 DRS zone, closing that gap. I would feel safe in saying, and I don't like to say this because it's woulda, shoulda, coulda, and it doesn't even make sense because it wasn't going to happen. But had it been 66, had it been 3 more laps, are we seeing a different outcome? That's why I prefer to say a circle with multiple DRS zones. We're seeing a different outcome. The laps are set. DRS zones can change. They will change. At other circuits, we're going to have circuits with 2 or 3 DRS and 2 detection zones or more. This is going to happen. DRS is now enabled a lot sooner than last season. This is going to happen. So if McLaren can continue to update and have updates turn into upgrades, we may have an unresolved picture of the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship by season end. Maybe. It's far-fetched right now, I know, but it's not impossible. And it's definitely within the realms of saying because of what we're seeing here. OG Zilla says, I hope McLaren and Ferrari keep this pace up, put the pressure on Max, expose him. And I will say this. OG Zilla, that's a good one because I'm going to say this. I do think that there was just a teeny bit of exposure, in Miami. I'm going to say that because Max couldn't run Lando down. Perez, I don't think Max is going to be able to do what he did last season by him solely alone being able to hold up the Constructors' Championship in. Perez is Perez, and he's been Perez. He's going to keep being Perez. He's the second driver in Red Bull, and sometimes he's not even the second driver on track. He's going to be that. If Pia can pull up, if Carlos and Charles can stay up there and lock it down, Max may not be able to hold down the Constructors' Championship this season by himself. Like I said, we're not seeing at this point in time those 19-second gaps. Now, will it happen later on this season? It could. I'm not saying that that's entirely over. I'm saying that right now, it's not been showing up as of late. And if it hasn't been showing up as of late, it's possible that those days might be far gone. Those 19, 15, 20-second gaps intervals between you and the rest of the drivers may not exist anymore. That might be a done deal. We'll definitely have to see about that. Ferrari, as far as their development, I don't know what it's going to take to get it right, but they need to understand it very soon. Going into Monaco, this is like another Ferrari track to me, but only thing that can make Monaco interesting is if it rains. That's it to me. If Monaco rains, then yeah, it can be interesting. Other than that, not so. Quali can be interesting. Quali's been probably one of the most interesting events the past few seasons. Qualifying has definitely stepped up. Tire mandatory allocations, I like it. I do. Sprint shootouts, cool. Does the sprint format still need work? Yes. But Monaco, womp womp. But still, we're going to be watching. We're going to be tuned in. We're going to be here for quality and be watching free practice. Might even stream free practice again. Some people like that. Hit me up, said they like the stream of free practice. So we'll see what we do about that. We don't have a race weekend this weekend. We got one next week. We'll be traveling. So, we should be full throttle this week going into that. OG Zilla said, also, don't forget if Max didn't get the toe, boom, that is true. If Max didn't get the toe from Pia, that's a good point. Pia would have gotten pole. I'm not sleeping on Pia. Hey, Pia is my other driver, man. Pia's the other driver that I rep. Pia is the other driver I rep, for sure. And I think Pia's going to be a dog. I think he's going to be a dog. What's up, Wiry Supreme? I think he's definitely going to be a dog. So I'm definitely watching Pia. Pia's my other driver. Straight up like that. Straight up like that. So we're going to see where this takes us. Monaco is this week. So I'm glad we getting, 2 weeks back to back of racing to see what the hell's going to go on. Mercedes, I don't know what the hell they're going to do with this track. I mean, Mercedes car balance is just, it's unknown. It doesn't exist, it seems sometimes. Jefferson says the term cheating can be sensitive for Red Bull Racing. So let's approach the subject with caution. Consider feelings to be more significant than facts. Laugh along. Man, forget what Red Bull talking about and forget that. You know what? How I feel about their feelings? It's just like this. They feelings to me is about as good as this damn bottle I just put in the trash. I don't care about Red Bull's feelings, Jefferson. They gonna be all right. They gonna be okay. That's how I feel about it. I am not tripping about Red Bull's feelings, bro. You funny. But Red Bull's still sitting in a good position. Let's not front about that. They are still sitting in a good position. I do think we're going to see some adverse effects due to same thing with Lewis Hamilton. I think Mercedes only showing him so much, only talking about so much. If they are not, I think they're holding other meetings where Lewis Hamilton is not included. He's leaving the team, and they don't want him leaving with anything that they may be coming out with, which to me is almost like worrying about nothing. You're not on track, and I don't know what you got coming, but I don't think it's going to change 180 next season from this season. Now, Newey, on the other hand, Newey did what he did for Red Bull. Y'all didn't do what Newey did for y'all. Okay? Newey did what he did for Red Bull. Red Bull didn't do what Newey did for y'all. So I heard that they are excluding Newey from meetings. That's just gonna kill y'all. That might be something that might end up hurting y'all in the end. And Newey, if I was you, I'd exclude my damn self. I'm not going to be here. I don't want to be concerned. I don't want to be in a situation or position that you all blame me for IP intellectual sharing with other teams. You tried that with Susie Wolf, said she was passing information that she shouldn't have been passing, which was BS. And I don't know what's going on with those charges, but are we going to hear anything on that? Are we going to hear anything on Christian Horner? I don't know, but maybe we should. But I would exclude myself. I don't want anything else to do with the development team. I'm not doing an input. What I will do is monitor, and maybe we talk about changes on surface level where we can do to maximize the package, but I'm not giving you any more of my drawings. I'm not implementing any more new differences outside of this. I'm not going to give you any new ideas I have. I'm going to take all of that with me. I'm not going to start things here for you then only to put paperwork on me where I can't use these things and these ideas that I have somewhere else. So even if I was Newey, I'm excluding myself. I don't have much to say, you know? What are we going to do right here? What do you want to do with this? No, I don't have any new ideas. No, I don't have any other Venturi effects for the floor. No, I don't have any new ideas for the front or rear wing. I can tell you how we maximize what you got, because that's what you're going to keep. I'm leaving with all my new ideas. And the team that gets Newey, yes, you're in a better position. You're in a better position if you get Newey, let Newey do what Newey does, and make sure he has a good supporting cast, good drivers, good mechanics, and good pit stops. Red Bull, I'm telling you, Red Bull are going to be struggling in 2026. If they're not, I'd be surprised. I told you all this a long time ago. 2025, they're going to stumble up, and it's coming. 2026 is just too much to me. Now, if Red Bull overcomes all this, I will give them full applaud and credit. I told you that Ford coming in is a doozy. Adrian Newey is now leaving. That's a doozy. Honda is leaving. That's a doozy. That's a trifecta that damn sure may add up to failure. And don't get started that Max might say, I'm out because I'm not gonna sit here and help y'all build through a rough patch. I'm trying to get as many championships as I can. I'm gonna leave and go somewhere else. He's not gonna even give him a season. Lewis Hamilton gave Mercedes 3 seasons of his life for them to waste them. They wasted them. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 5th. This is where they sit. They wasted 3 seasons of Lewis Hamilton, the greatest driver in Formula One, still active. They wasted 3 seasons of his life. He had character and integrity to stick with a team, hoping and praying and wishing and assisting that they develop through it. They disrespected him in the process. Now Toto's courting Max in the process. Now they're desperate to find another driver in the process. They're sitting up here boasting and boosting and doing all of this hype about Antonelli, and I don't know where he's going to sit. Ollie Berman, I told y'all about, bro. I told y'all last season when he got in and everything was peachy, I said, look at his F2 career. He ain't all that, even there. He came in, had a nice Formula One weekend in a top team car. He didn't wreck it up. He didn't foul it up. He did his job, went home. It looked good. Everybody's hyped on it. I'm not saying he doesn't have good championship potential. I'm saying that I don't see it right now. And Antonelli may be no damn different. We need a better sample size than that. We just do. So Mercedes are scrambling everywhere. You're losing your GOAT driver. You don't know who's incoming. Your development has been trashed for 3 seasons and maybe for a 4th. Your personnel is changing. It's going to be crazy for you. Jefferson said, got all that. Okay, so we'll see what happens. But, we got Monaco coming up. It's Wednesday. Tomorrow's Thursday. We're going to be in free practice, FP1, FP2, FP3. I like them all. Monaco, I believe, is going to be a traditional weekend for Formula One. I don't think we got a sprint that weekend for Formula One. I think we're going to be in traditional weekend. We're going to have FP1 through 3. We're going to have qualifying, and then we're going to have the race. 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I'll be on here. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when I will be live for quali. And the race are FP1 or 2. We'll see about that. Maybe I do FP2. Maybe I come in and do FP2 live stream. I don't know. We'll see about it. Depends on how much I got going on. I got a build going on. Got to get the cart ready. We're going to be going out of town. All that stuff next week. So we'll see what goes on. The answer, Jefferson says, the essence of handing in your notice is to be present for the atmosphere and essentially do very little. Simply be a bystander. Right. Jefferson, that's some facts, right? Like, hey, give you my 2-week notice. Some companies like, you know what? Just don't come in. Just stay home. Just take vacation. If you don't take a vacation, we're going to pay you out. But you're right. The essence of handing in your notice is to completely be on descent, ready to hit the tarmac and pull in taxi and let's go. I'm out of here. Like, I'm not trying to do all that. I'm done. I'm telling you I'm done now. You want to fire me before the time goes, you're welcome to fire me before my time elapsed, but I'm done. I will be leaving. So, yeah, you're definitely right about that, bro. The thing is not to be doing as much as you can, giving up all your new ideas, implementing things that he can implement somewhere else and actually work on them. Because if he does that, that's part of Red Bull, and then there's a whole legal situation right there. So if I'm Adrian Newey, I'm not sharing anything else that I could do to improve this car that I think may benefit me, my job, my team, my new role somewhere else. I'm not doing it. So I don't blame him. I don't think it's foul. I don't think none of that. So we'll see what happens when it goes there. You already know your boy Jay from Warpack Performance, home of F1 Minutes, which will start later on this season. We're in another weekend for Monaco, baby. One of the most boringest tracks, but it's still a track. It's still a race, and it's a GP weekend. So I will see you soon. Peace.